Good morning and welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ron Rance getting ready to do a little traveling. How are you?
Doing good, man. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sports Shorts, presented by LeBear's Casino. Of course, TK on this Friday over at Tremonti's Meat and Seafood in Baton Rouge. I'm in an undisclosed location on the way to the airport. We'll tell you where. And we're presented by LeBear's Casino, where Sports Shorts Radio will be this weekend.
We're at the Bruley Walk-Ons tomorrow.
Oh, Bruley Walk-Ons tomorrow. Bruley Walk-Ons tomorrow. The best walk-ons of all the walk-ons locations. Because, Tommy, why is it?
Because it's the best what?
Because it's got the Ron Rance mural on the wall. Come on.
Well, I forgot about that. Some things I don't remember.
It's got the Ron Rance pitching back in 92 or 3 or something on the wall. But anyway, we're today on Sports Shorts. We'll talk LSU baseball. The Tigers officially punched their ticket to Hoover. They've got 11 SEC wins. 2 more to go to be a lock, everyone thinks, to get into the NCAA tournament. I'll tell you what Todd Walker thinks. Was with him Monday, Tuesday. I'll give you an interesting take that he had. And then, of course, some big news that just developed in the world of sports out of golf that Tommy's about to tell you about. Saints released their schedule, 3 primetime games to mark down on your calendar. The Saints on paper, easiest schedule in the league, but that's just paper. It's worth the worth about, 1 cent, the cost of printing that paper. But right now, let's get to the breaking news of the day. That is wild. I mean, if Tommy wasn't seeing it on TV for himself, I'd believe that it was fake news.
3 hours ago, Scotty Scheffler, who shot 4 under par yesterday, 5 shots back, he was headed to the golf course. Golfers usually get to the course about 3 hours before their tee time. They do their routine. It was still dark. Unfortunately, there was a lady killed by a shuttle bus, somewhere in the Louisville, Kentucky, very near the golf course. Scheffler's in a PGA courtesy car, and there's a decal magnetic sign on the thing. And the ESPN reporter, Jeff Darlington, is in the car right behind Scheffler. Okay, there's mass confusion. It's still dark, hard to see. There's lights everywhere, ambulances, police cars, security people, everything. Scheffler attempted to go around what is now being said he thought was a security guard so he could get to the golf course. Not being aware of what had transpired, they yelled at his car. He went like 10 yards, according to Jeff Darlington, and he stopped, and he rolled the window down, and the cop is like reaching in, like jerking on him, and then opens the door and pulls him out of the car and slams him against the car and handcuffs Scotty Scheffler. And they put him in the back seat of a police car and take him to the police station where they booked him on second-degree assault of an officer, ignoring officers' directions during a traffic situation. And one other thing, they took a mugshot. Now, they say he's going to wear orange every Friday now. Somebody trying to be funny. But they took a mugshot that's all over the internet of Scotty Scheffler. He was arrested, booked, mugshotted, and then he was released. And he got to the golf course a little bit less than an hour before his tee time. Fortunately, in Louisville, there was a rain delay for the second round of the PGA Championship this morning. So his tee time got pushed back due to the rain delay because by rule, he has to get to the tee before his group putts out on the first hole. They can be about to hit their last putt and he can tee off behind them and not be late for his tee time. So he got to the course and he had a little less than an hour to prepare. Normally, golfers take about 3 hours to prepare for their round. They got their routine, and most of them do the same thing, but not all. And it's just a major story. I'm very curious to see what Scheffler will say after the event today, if he talks about it. Former LSU golfer John Peterson said the Louisville Police Department will be bankrupt after Scheffler's lawyers get a hold of them. And again, without knowing all the details, John Peterson posted that on Twitter. I follow John like most people do. And it's just a totally bizarre situation. Number one, unfortunately, we had a lady that was killed by a shuttle bus. That's the horrible part of it. But then, Ronnie, when you throw in it's the PGA Championship, one of the 4 golfing majors, and it's Scotty Scheffler, the number 1 golfer in the world. If this is Tommy Chrysan, the 152nd ranked golfer in the world, it may not have gotten the same amount of legs, obviously. But, it's just a bizarre, crazy story. And I'm sure more details are going to come on. But total craziness on a Friday morning at the PGA. in Louisville, Kentucky at Valhalla Country Club. Totally bizarre. And again, unfortunately, a person lost their life in the situation that preceded what was going on. I do want to remind people it was dark when he was arriving at the golf course, to get there 3 hours ahead of his 9 o'clock tee time.
Well, the fact that there's video is what's going to make this one even more interesting than if it was just a report. And you mentioned the 150th golfer in the world. Yeah, it definitely wouldn't be as big of a story. But the fact that there's video, we can see what happened. And based off of I haven't seen the video, you have multiple times, and based off of how you're describing it, I mean, I think the cop was probably emotionally upset at the situation. Yes, Scotty was probably in the wrong with what he did. But if he rolls his window down and he says, "Hey man, I'm Scotty Scheffler. I'm on my way to go. I got a tee time," and if the whatever, regardless of what Scotty Scheffler says, he doesn't have the right to reach in there, grab him, and jerk him out and all that. I mean, Scotty didn't brandish a gun or anything like that. So this is, you're right. Peterson's right. This is going to be lawsuit city. This is not and look, Ricky Fowler was famous for wearing orange. Now it's going to be Scotty Scheffler. Everybody's going to be mocking him, having Scotty Scheffler's not going to be wearing orange. But a crazy, bizarre situation. And now, as if we didn't question whether he was the greatest golfer on the planet, Tommy, but this will solidify it. How will he shoot today? How will he play this weekend? Will he be able to shake off everything that transpired mentally and play well? That's going to be interesting to see.
Well, they already put it out. The odds of over and under that he shoots 68. You can bet whether he's higher than 68 or lower. I'm going to say higher. Higher. Of course, I could be wrong. But, golf's such a mental game, and people are going to be yelling at him from the gallery at every tee box, every hole. I mean, as he's walking up the fairway, they're going to be yelling, jumpsuit, all these other things. I mean, what a bizarre story at one of the golf majors with the number one golfer in the world. Just very sad about the lady losing her life, but it's just, there was a decal. You can see it. There's a decal. The magnetic signs you put on the door, like, it says PGA courtesy car on the decal. So you would think the cop would know, okay, well, this is somebody involved with the tournament. Might not know it's Scotty Scheffler. He might not know who Scotty Scheffler is, but he should have realized it was someone affiliated with the tournament. I mean, Valhalla's never getting another golf tournament. Louisville's never getting another major with this situation.
Well, the bottom line is, I think the cop probably overreacted, yell at him, stop him, scream at him, pull him over, give him a ticket, whatever. But the reaching in and arresting him and all that, I'm really curious to hear the rest of the story.
Ronnie, they slammed him against the car and handcuffed him like you were watching Law and Order or something, okay? Now, here's the funniest line of the day. You ready? Dan Patrick wanted to know if Scheffler got a police escort from the police station to make his tee time on time.
That's a good point.
Dan Patrick, I wonder if the police escorted him after mugshotting him so he could get to the course for his tee time.
The other point of that story is that you talked about how it's standard for pro golfers to warm up for 3 hours prior to a round. Folks out there that play golf, Tommy has played a lot in his life. I've played a little bit, and I'm headed to Ireland, by the way, for a golf trip. That's where I'm headed literally right now. Don't tell anybody. It's our secret. I will be doing lots of work, unfortunately, from the hotel while I'm there. But that said, that explains, Tommy, why I suck as a golfer, because I'm usually the guy that shows up on two wheels right at the first tee. Hey guys, two off the first, and then we roll. Or at best, I feel proud of myself if I get about 10 minutes of warm-up swings before the first round. These guys every day warm up for 2 and 3 hours prior to going and playing 18, when my round usually lasts 3 hours. So that's why they're good.
The routine includes stretching, some weightlifting, the physical tent, the physical therapist, and then they get a little bitty bite to eat, and they go to the range, and then they go to the putting green, and then they walk to their tee. So it's not 3 hours of hitting golf balls. 3 hours And then they got the session with their mental guy, Brett McCabe's talking to them, an hour and 15 before the tea time to get them revved up, mentally. I mean, again, for those of you that don't know, it's not 3 hours of hitting balls or putting.
Yeah, but my routine is to try to grab a Powerade from the cart girl, maybe a Twix bar or a Kit Kat, shove it in the side of my bag about 3 minutes before my tea time, and then if I'm lucky, I might get to putt like 10 balls right on the little side green, usually near the first hole. That's about it, TK.
And you wonder why you shoot 98.
That's 100% a fact. All right, let's move on. LSU baseball. The Tigers last night get a much-needed win, dominant fashion. They had a little rain delay in a minute, moved the game up. So LSU now with 11 wins, the same as Ole Miss, but the LSU officially is going to be an over, meaning that Auburn and Missouri, will be out. But it's a sprint to the finish for both Ole Miss and LSU. Both teams eyeing 13 wins to punch their ticket, which means whoever wins the next two will be for sure, we believe, either team 13 wins, they're into the NCAA tournament. But there's a chance Tigers win the series, they win today, lose tomorrow, vice versa, and neither team get to 13 wins, which would be unbelievable. But that said, Todd Walker, of course, ESPN SEC Network, who knows better than I, because he's got all the geeks running the data. He's got a team of people in Bristol and in Charlotte, North Carolina, breaking down the data, giving them the reports every day. He thinks there's a pretty good shot that if LSU were to end up with 12 wins, but go to Hoover and win at least one, that they could still get into the NCAA tournament. Now, a lot of that depends on scoreboard watching. Does the Southland Conference, does Lamar win the conference tournament? Because Lamar's on the bubble of maybe getting into the tournament even without winning the conference tournament, the regular season champs. Would, the Sun Belt Conference champ, would the Raging Cajuns get into the tournament if they don't win I mean, of course, Raging Cajuns will, but I'm talking about like the top 2 or 3 teams in the Sun Belt that are going to get at-large bids. Would one of them win the tournament so that it doesn't take a Cinderella off the board? So a lot of that obviously plays a factor, but Todd feels there's a pretty good chance that if LSU wins 12 games and goes and wins at least one at the SEC tournament, that might still be enough to get in. I personally don't believe so.
Well, I'll respect what Todd says, because you said he's got the staff, he's got people studying this for him, and he's very good at what he does. He probably hits a little better than commentates, but he's pretty damn good commentator. But no, so it so much depends on what else happens around the country. And let's point out Southeastern swept a doubleheader yesterday, so they have qualified for the Southland tournament, which is in Hammond. So
Thank
they
God.
almost had that thing that happened back when I was the voice of the Lions about hosting but not getting in. But Southeastern did sweep yesterday, and they will be able to play in the tournament that they're hosting. So that's good for Bobby Barbier and the Lions. But Nichols is good. Lamar with Will Davis, really, really good. And Nichols just took 2 out of 3 from Lamar. So, should have got all 3, but it's going to be fun. But LSU, they got to worry about today. Game scheduled for noon. It's been changed in case you hadn't seen that yet. So now both Jay Johnson and Mike Bianco, they're going to play this. I don't want to start warming my guy up, Holman, for LSU. If we might get, the last thing they want is get him loose, start the game, and then there's a rain delay or a lightning delay, and then you can't come back to it. That's what they don't want. So I think that's why they put it at noon. Actually, according to my phone, the weather forecast is a little better at 6 or 7 p.m. tonight than it is at noon. But, they're going to play that game, which they've all done before. Bianco knows the game. Jay Johnson knows the game. The NCAA, the refs, the SEC, everybody umps the SEC, everybody knows. So that's going to be a big factor today with LSU. You're just going to have to, stay hooked on social media. Any change, LSU baseball will tweet it or exit. They'll Facebook it. They'll email it out. Any official change. So don't believe your friend when he tells you they moved it to 1 o'clock unless it comes from LSU.
The next 24 hours for LSU baseball is so crucial, Tommy. I mean, you can't imagine a world where they win the national championship and the very next year they don't make the postseason. Obviously.
Wait, Ronnie, I got to add to that. Florida might not make the postseason.
Right.
And that's who LSU beat in the finals last year. Let that sink in.
And both those teams were, Arkansas was sort of the favorite from most polls in the West, but Florida was in some polls a favorite in the East. I mean, both seasons have been majorly disappointing, and I truly believe that the balance of college baseball at the highest level, at the Power 5 or 4 level, at the where people put an emphasis in college baseball and spend money, and so across the SEC, all 16 teams now with Oklahoma and Texas coming in next year, across the SEC, you now have teams that have NIL money. You all have teams that have big crowds. Yes, some more than others, but all the atmospheres in the SEC are good ones. Some are great, some are good, but all of them are good. All of them have really good facilities and getting better. I mean, what Vanderbilt's doing with their complex over the next 3 years is incredible, especially for Vanderbilt. It is going to be incredible. I mean, they're already a great program, and then you throw on in a great city in Nashville. You throw on top of what they've got coming down the pipe with their facilities upgrades. It's going to be awesome. And so, look, it's not just 3 schools in the SEC and 3 or 4. It's all of them are really good. All of them are great facilities. All of them have NIL money. And you talk to any coach, Brian Kelly said it last week, doesn't matter the sport. Number one question is, hey, what are you going to give me, coach? Not anything else. Not school, not facilities, not alumni, not anything. Not what's my dorm look like. Before I come, what are you going to give me? And that's going on in baseball too. And so it's a changing world. And then with all the distractions off the field, when you do get to a big time program where everybody, I mean, think of LSU, all the guys of all the names are making money, getting everything paid for, money in their pocket. It's just hard to focus and be a college student baseball player. Make no mistake about it. They're nice kids. They wear LSU across the chest, so we don't want to be so critical on and off the field. They're not professionals that we used to always say. They are now. They are professionals. They are not making as much money as the major leaguers, but they are professionals. The definition of pro is if you get paid to do something and you're a professional. Whether it's $1 or $1 million makes no difference. You're a pro. Just like minor leaguers for decades were making $850 a month and only getting paid while they were playing during the season. They weren't broke, but they were professionals. These guys are not broke, and they are professionals. Not just LSU, across the SEC and beyond. So therefore, it's a different mindset, a different feel entirely 365 days out of the year.
I agree with you totally. I mean, and I am of the opinion it's 98% of the reason why Nick Saban quit coaching at Alabama because of NIL. That's my opinion, and maybe one day he'll elaborate on that. But he did report that 13 players came to him after they lost their last football game, wanted to know what was their pay going to be the next year. 13 players came to him and said, what am I going to get next year? Because if not, I'm headed to Tennessee or LSU or Georgia or whatever. I got to believe that's what was the icing on the cake for him to say, you know what, I'm going to go sit where Lee Corso used to sit.
Yeah. Listen, it's super hypocritical of Brian Kelly making $95 million and Nick Saban making $15 million. It's super hypocritical of them to have an issue with or not like that. But at the same time, they are fortunate enough at this phase in their career and all that to where they don't have to deal with it. They got enough money. Forget this crap. I mean, I'm all for the players getting whatever they can. I'm all for anybody. I'm a capitalist beyond belief. Get what you can, as much as you can. But the bottom line is that I wouldn't want to deal with it as a coach because it's not an equal playing field. At least in the NFL, there's a salary cap. Everybody's got the same amount of money, and you figure it out, dice it up however you want, beat the system however you want. That's not the case, and it's Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, the Yankees can spend whatever they want versus, Tampa Bay can't keep up, right? They're going to spend 3 times more money than Tampa Bay, maybe more, every single year. That's what college sports is now. It's Major League Baseball. It's going to be like, oh, wow, look at that nice little team. Look at Auburn. They're doing nice things over there, Auburn, with their little bit of money, while Alabama's got twice as much as they do.
Well, here's the ultimate example, Ronnie. This would have never happened 10 years ago. Chip Kelly left the UCLA head football coaching job to become the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. Take away Ohio State, take away UCLA. A head coach at a major college in college football resigned to take a lesser position. I don't care what the pay is, okay? Because he didn't want to deal with the NIL and the transfer portal anymore. He wants to, whoever comes out the practice of Ohio State, he's going to put his offense in and turn it loose. That would have never happened even 5 years ago, okay? Yep. But that's another example of, and that translates into the other sports, into college baseball, into college basketball, into the women's sports. You know, the ladies coach at Iowa has resigned. Now, she's been around 20-something years, but, you know, they got to the final game 2 years in a row, didn't win it. She don't want to deal with it anymore either. So she resigned. The coach from Iowa, that coach Caitlin Clark. It's craziness, but now, so what does that do to the fans? Time will tell.
I am jumping off right now. I'm going to be in Ireland, 6 rounds of golf in 6 days. I will be sending, Tommy will be having special guests next week on Sports Rush Daily. I will be sending you, TK, a video for each show. I'll get it to you in advance so that you can play a little 2-minute video or something like that. I'll give you a couple little interviews from Ireland. I'm going to be playing along. One day we'll have Nat Moore, Miami Dolphin Hall of Famer, former Florida Gator. Don't hold it against him. Nat's in his early 70s. Looks like he's in his early 50s. And Nat's a fantastic played, 15 years in the NFL, was Dan Marino's favorite target. We'll hear from him. You'll hear from Louis Garcia one day, and we'll hear from Blair Barbier, former LSU Tiger great. So we'll have a different guest each day for just a little minute or two video live from Ireland. And we'll have that for you Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week on Sports Shorts Daily.
Don't forget Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow. We'll have James Dillard, the head coach of Baton Rouge Rougarou. James will join us at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I already texted him this morning. He's fired up. Sports Shorts Radio, 10 to 12. James Dillard, the new head coach. Chet Lee. There we are. Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. Don't forget for all your needs this weekend. Wine, bourbon, vodka, tequila, all your meats, your Chapman's Reserve meats, chicken, shrimp, seafood. You got everything here. Crawfish boil, crawfish live, crawfish, Tremonti's Meat and Seafood. I want you to check them out. And again, as we said, don't forget Sports Shorts Radio tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Hunter McCann and I, Joel Davis, we'll have Glenn Gilbo talking about Coach Burton signing books, if that still happens before the Ole Miss game tomorrow. Keep your eye on LSU and the weather. Also LSU softball hosting the regional tournament. A lot going on. And the PGA. We'll talk about that tomorrow on the radio as well. Special thanks to Tremonti's Meat and Seafood and, of course, our presenting sponsor, Labar's Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge, where you got the sports book, you got the Edge Lounge, lots of great stuff there. On behalf of Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Christ, and stay dry. Have a good day, everyone.